Hello everyone, my name is Leandro and I'm 16 years old and I've done sim racing for about 2-3 years now. Recently I got myself 3 screens for my sim racing setup. It took me a long time to find out if I really should buy the 27 inches over the 32's, but yeah, then I found out that triple 27s are the way to go. Okay, so the thing I'm going to go over is the performance difference between those two monitors, the triple 27s and triple 32s, with both with the 1080. And I'm also going to talk about if it makes you faster on track, the pixel clarity or pixel density you can say, the space and FOV, and my experience with the triple 27. And at the end of the video I'm going to show you guys my setup, tell you what I have and what I think and what I see when I drive, and at the end I'm going to have a conclusion. Now, most importantly, like I said, does it make you faster with triplets? The answer is both no and yes. Like, the thing is that your lap times, like the first week, your lap time is not going to get any faster, but you can see how close the other people are to you because of the increased FOV, because you can look at the sides and side mirrors and everything like that. So you can race a bit cleaner and at the same time a little harder, so you can push the car a little more. But yeah, quality wise, not really. But what I felt when I got triplets was a sensation of speed, and that boosted my motivation to practice more and to jump in the rig. So, and that means, much more practice. So yeah, motivation to get better. So it's a yes for me, but not everybody's going to get that feeling, just saying that. The performance with the 27-inch 1920 by 1080p compared to 32's with 1080p isn't that big. First of all, the reason I went for the triple 27s was because of how cheap it was for me compared to triple 32's. To run 3 32-inch monitors, you need to have a lot of space and a very good PC. Depends on the resolution, of course. If you have for the 32-inch, it's going to be harsh on your PC, like triple. 3 of those, that's many pixels. But if it's 1080, then it's most likely okay. I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, a RTX 4060, 80 gigabytes of VRAM, and a Ryzen 7 9700X. So I have a decent PC, a little high end, and I run 27 inches with 1920 by 1080p. I race on iRacing with medium to a little higher settings, and I get about 80 to 160 FPS. Depends on how many cars there are on track, and of course the time of day. If it's sunset, much more reflection on the ground, and the grandstand, how many people there are, or how many people the game has to render. But if you would have gotten the triple 32's with 1080, then the FPS would have been the same, maybe a little lower, but the pixel density, of course, is bad compared to the 27-inch with the 1080p. You can compare actually the pixel density, the 1080 27-inch monitor is almost at the same level clarity-wise, pixel clarity-wise, as a 4040p 32-inch monitor. So the 1080p 32-inch is not going to look that great compared to 27 inches with 1080p. To run a 1440p 32 or 27-inch, you can't have a graphics card with 8 gigabytes of VRAM. What my recommendation is that you should at least have a 3070 Titan or above, not a 4060 Titan either. Let's say a 4070 Ti with 12 gigabytes of VRAM, that's enough. then you can run those monitors I said with about the same or more FPS. But having the 27 inches with 1080p with an RTX 4060 Ti with 8GB of RAM is pretty good. Now pixel clarity, first of all, quality over quantity. What I mean by that is that you should go for a better pixel clarity over monitor size. For me, that's my personal opinion. Let's say I have a decent computer and you can either choose to buy the 32-inch with 1080p or the 27 inches with 1080p. The quality difference is big. If you want more FOV, sure, go for the 32-inch. It is going to go over the clarity. It's going to look more blurry. You're going to see pixels much more than the 27 inches with 1080p. And yeah, like I said, this is important. 27 inches with 1080p is almost at the same level as 32 inch with 4040p clarity wise. That's the thing in mind. Now the space and FOV, the width of a or triple screen setup with the 27 inches are about 130 centimeters to 140 depending on the angle. I've set mine to 57 degrees of side angle, and that's the sweet spot for me to get the wraparound effect. Okay, I'm getting 169 degrees of field of view with my triple 27s. With the triple 32s you can get about 180 degrees of field of view. That's what we see basically width wise. So you're going to get full immersion with that. So yeah, you're going to get a little over 180, so 182 to a little under 178. Yeah, you're going to get super immersed with both monitor sizes, but a little more with the 32s. Now my experience with the triple 27 for 1080p, first and foremost, before I got the 27 or the triple 27s, I had a 34-inch ultrawide with 4K. My PC handled it perfectly. I had about 120 FPS to 200 FPS with it. So I only lost about 35 FPS by using the two screens I have right behind me. 27 inches triples. So I only lost about 25% of my FPS, and it was totally worth it. When I first got the triple 27s, I felt a little bit disappointed about the So the pixel clarity wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought actually it would be better, but it was much worse than I thought. But when I set everything together, I didn't really see the pixels anymore, and it didn't bother me really, so you shouldn't think about it. But I didn't really care about the resolution, because for some reason the immersion level was just insane compared to my single 34 inch ultrawide I had. Now I'm going to tell you something extra. Now I'm just going to tell you shortly about the price, monitor type and monitor stand. You should settle down to a monitor with at least 120 Hz and 1 millisecond of response time minimum, with little ghosting as possible. Ghosting isn't really a big problem. The monitors I use have ghosting, not much, but not little either.
Now I watched over the edits and I realized I did some mistakes. So I'm just going to go over this pretty fast. Now for 27 inches you should have 1080p, or you can go for 4040. You can also have 4K of course, but it's harsh on your PC and it's much more expensive. Ideally 120 Hz and up, less than 1 millisecond response time, and basically the same with the 32 inches. The only thing is that 1080p is much uglier than the 1080p on 27 inches. Now for the 27 inches, it can probably go for around $100 to $250 for 1080 or a good 1080 monitor or a good 4040 monitor, and for the 1080 to 4040p 32 inch you can get them about $200 to $300. That's what I saw when I did my research.
You should do your own research on what monitor you should buy. You obviously need a stand for these monitors. You can get an integrated stand where you have it bolted on your rig, or a oval monitor stand where it's not integrated, like bolted on your rig, where it's independent. I did set up everything alone as a 16-year-old with school and everything, but I really recommend to be 2 to 3 person max, because I did it alone. It took me like 4 days to do it, and a tiny bit of help of my parents and my brother. I used about 16 hours. I was so tired. I used a lot of time to film this, so it would have been nice if you can, you know, subscribe or like or anything. I don't really care. If you've come this far, I'm happy with that. Thanks again, and stay tuned for another video. But before I go, I want you to know that my dream is to become a race car driver, of course, with sim racing, because I don't have rich parents, so I can't do karting. And my closest karting track is about 2 hours away, and there isn't many where I live. But when I talk about I want to become a race car driver, I'm talking about doing any popular classes like GT3, GT2, LMP3, GT4, LMP2, VEC, IMSA, DTM, any of the popular series. I don't really care if I drive Formula cars, NASCAR, supercars. I just want to drive and make money out of it, of course, making it out of a living. I'm going to post reviews, tips, record races, and I stream endurance races on iRacing on Twitch, of course. I'm gonna put it down in the link in the description. I stream almost every Friday when I have time, and yeah, that's basically everything. But I think the video was a bit long, hopefully not. Thanks for watching.